Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This one, yeah, it's a juicy one, fellas. Talking about weapon changes, as well as Shadowkeep in its launch. Fellas, let's jump right into it. First up, Bungie states we've talked a lot about how Shadowkeep will change the way we play Destiny. We're not even done yet. We'll have more to say before October 1st about how the game is about to evolve. There might even be a final pre-launch Bungie Vidoc about year 3 next week, but that's not my promise to make. Keep your eyes up. Seeing Guardians rejoin Ares on the moon for a new adventure is not the only thing we're looking forward to when we daydream launch day. As this new campaign against the Minions of Darkness begins, a new season of Destiny gameplay will begin with it, followed by 3 additional seasons of updates. We're about to kick off a whole new year of explorations, rewards, and surprises. But not everything should be left to surprise. We know that Guardians like to plan their gaming sessions. This calendar shows what's coming free to all players of Destiny 2, what's in store for Shadowkeep, and what's included with Season of Undying. Okay, boys, so this is actually the calendar here. The big ones being, of course, October 1st, where Shadowkeep launches, as well as the Destiny 2 base game with New Light launches as well. The Raid launches on October 5th, Hero and Legend Nightmare Hunts on the 8th, Master Nightmare Hunts, which is pretty interesting, alongside Ironbanner on the 15th. The Exotic Quest Leviathan's Breath launches on the 22nd. That's very interesting. I wonder if that's because Bungie doesn't want us to have the bow on Raid launch day, so instead they just made it a quest on October 22nd. Moving on, Festival of the Lost begins on the 29th through November 19th. Also on the 29th, though, we've got a dungeon launching, as well as a new PvP mode called Momentum Control. Momentum Control. I don't even know. I'm trying to think. Sounds dope. And we get a dungeon. Hell yeah. Also, the Exotic Quest Divinity comes out on October 29th. Holy hell, we've got pretty much 2 of the most exciting exotics, at least the ones I'm really looking forward to, already mapped out for us. Not sure if that's a good or bad thing. Like, I like surprises, but at the same time, as a content creator, I kind of like to know when I'm going to get things, so yeah, that's pretty cool. First Raid Challenge begins on November 5th, and on November 19th, the Vex Offensive Final Assault will begin. Now, notice that the icons there, guys, you have the Shadowkeep icon, which of course is included with Shadowkeep, the Season of Undying icon, which is just for those that actually purchase just the season, and just the Destiny 2 icon, which is free to all Destiny players. That's really good. So for those that actually don't want to invest too heavily into this expansion, and they just want to participate in the season, they can skip over Shadowkeep. But I will say, if you miss out on Shadowkeep, you're going to miss the Raid, Nightmare Hunts, which is probably going to show some pretty dope rewards. You're not going to get the Exotic Quest Divinity, as well as whatever that Raid challenge is. All right, moving on. Shadowkeep Sandbox Update Weapons. Last week, we did a bit of a deep dive on upcoming changes to abilities in Shadowkeep. This week, we'll be giving a patch note preview on how your weapons will be fine-tuned. For this pass, the team put some love into a few exotics that may have been collecting dust in your vaults. On top of that, a bit of tuning has been done in how damage is applied to different targets in PvE environments. In terms of how these changes will impact your PvP experience, a few weapons and archetypes are being buffed, with some seeing aggressive range fall off to give breathing room to scout rifles and other weapons. Oh my god, we called it, boys! Okay, everybody calm down. Let's get into this. First up, weapon changes. General weapon mods are now treated as reusable unlocks instead of consumables. Any mods you have in your inventory will be converted to unlocks. This gives players the opportunity to play with different mods more frequently. If the only copy of a mod you have is already in a gun, you'll need to reacquire one to unlock it. That's pretty interesting right there, guys. So essentially, if you want Icarus on every one of your weapons, instead of you sitting there waiting for Icarus to finally come to sale, you can just now apply it to everything, which is the same as our other mods. Excellent thing right here that they're doing. Moving on, auto rifles are getting a PvE damage increase between 30% and 25%, depending on combatant rank. All right, that's a pretty substantial buff. Nothing for PvP there, but for PvE, yeah, maybe break out some half-dan, get a little nasty inside PvE. I was really hoping to see something there for PvP though. Bows, PvE damage increased by 31% against minor enemies and 26% against major enemies. Fixed an issue where bow draw times were displayed incorrectly in the inspection screen. So for my poor bastards out there that have been grinding Hush this past week to finish it before the season ends, well, that pinnacle weapon should be a little easier to get. Hand cannon changes. PvE damage against minor enemies got an increase by 30%. Lightweight and adaptive hand cannons use a new firing animation while aiming down sights. This change was made to increase weapon accuracy when firing these weapons as fast as possible. Currently, players can shoot faster than the recoil animation of 140 and 150 archetypes, so while the hand cannons looks to have fully reset from recoil, the following projectile will be shot as if the weapon was still in a recoiled state. Reduce the effect the range stat has on damage range fall off effective range for this weapon archetype. Holy hell, boys. Did we not call it, or did we not freaking call it? Essentially, the rundown to this, guys, and QJ, by the way, if you're listening, you were 100% right. Hand cannons are going to be easier to use, lightweight and adaptive hand cannons, but they are going to receive an effective range nerf to rein them in a little more. Now, how steep that effective range drop off is going to be, we don't know. I'm sure it's going to differ between both 140s and 150s versus just being an outright blanket nerf to the range to both of these archetypes. Either way it goes, like I said before, it's a double-edged sword. We assumed that it was coming, considering that Bungie essentially made this exact change back in year 3 of Destiny 1, but man, right on the dot, boys. Again, we won't really know how effective this change is until we're actually playing with the hand cannons, which for me might be a little sooner than some. I can't say much, boys. Moving on. Machine guns. PvE damage against minor enemies increased by 25%. All right, yes, it needed some more love, specifically in PvE. Increase the effects of damage range fall off on this weapon archetype. Are you saying that we can't go into Gambit and snipe with machine guns anymore? What the hell, Bungie? It's like you're intending for this weapon to be utilized like an LMG should. That's a good change, Bungie. Moving on. Pulse rifles. PvE damage against minor enemies got an increase by 28%. Wow, that's for all pulse rifles. Increase the effects of damage range fall off on this weapon archetype. So this is also going to get a slap to range. Archetype specific damage changes impacts both PvE and PvP gameplay. Rapid fire pulse rifles now deal 14 over 23.8 base precision damage. Previously, it was 13 and 21.4. Wow, that's a substantial increase there, guys. High impact pulse rifles now deal 21 over 33.6 base precision damage. Previously, it was 20 and 32. Now, I know I said Redrix is going to be really nasty this coming up season. And yes, it's going to be a good one, for sure. But seeing this buff here to rapid fire pulse rifles, goddamn. Boys, if you got a guide roll Outlast, a Horus Lease, a Claws of the Wolf, prepare yourselves, because the Clever Dragon meta is well on its way. Scout rifles. PvE damage increase between 36% and 18%, depending on combatant rank. Wow, that's kind of a range though, 18 and 36. Hopefully, that is enough of a buff. I do not see anything here though buffing it inside of PvP, which tells me one of two things. Number one, Bungie is really depending on these range drop-offs for both pulse rifles and hand cannons to be the single thing that gives these scout rifles a chance inside of PvP. Moving on to sidearms. Holy hell, it's the last time you saw one of these. PvE damage got an increase to minor and major combatants by a whopping 16%. All right, for my two people that actually bring a sidearm inside of PvE, there you go, boys. You got a buff on the way. Sniper rifles. PvE damage increase by 47%. Against minor enemies and 20% for others. Now that is a major increase against minor enemies, but let's be real, how many times do you use a sniper to take out a minor enemy? The 20% though is extremely nice. Exotic sniper rifle perk damage bonuses have been modified to compensate for this change, and they will not receive the full benefits as a result. Does that mean like box breathing on Whisper? Darcy? It's gonna be interesting. We'll have to get some pre-recorded values right now, unlike Greg, and just check it out next season. Submachine guns got a PvE damage increase by 22.5% against minor and major combatants. Aggressive frame submachine guns. These are our 750s. Remove the intrinsic effect of deals bonus damage at close range. This bonus was a 10%, but was unintentionally always active. The bonus damage has been moved to the base damage for 750s, resulting in no damage change. As a result, Teraba and Huckleberry gain 10% damage in both PvE and in PvP. Now, it's probably not going to be super noticeable inside of PvP, but this is a very nice change, especially for Huckleberry there. Moving on, exotics. First on the list, we got Sweet Business. Got an increased magazine size from 100 to 150. Oh, just in time for that auto rifle buff. It also got an increase in PvE damage by 15%. Now, is that just individually, or is that going to stack with the blanket buff that's coming to all auto rifles inside of PvE? High caliber rounds have been replaced with armor piercing rounds. Alrighty then. Damage change to 15 and 21.2 base over precision. Previously, it was 13.21 over 21.14. So it actually didn't get a major buff in terms of precision damage, but it did get a pretty decent buff there in terms of body shot damage, allowing for Sweet Business to be a little more forgiving. This weapon no longer requires you to be firing when you pick up ammo to have it automatically reload. Oh baby, this is the first exotic on this list, and we're already having a tough time containing ourselves. Moving on. Graviton Lance is receiving a PvE damage increase by 30%. Very nice. Sunshot got an increase in magazine size to 12. Oh, gonna be nasty. Vigilance Wings got a PvE damage increase by 25%. Crimson, damage changed to 19 and 30.5. No way! Previously, it was 13.76 and 24.75. Fix an issue that was causing this weapon to deal higher flinch than intended. Alright guys, Crimson's about to be pretty good. 30.5 per precision shot and 19 per body shot. Hot damn, boys. I asked for 30 in that video we made. Bungie gives us another 0.5. Bungie! Merciless! Fix the missing aim assist stat for this weapon, okay? Did somebody say that Merciless wasn't working in terms of aim assist? I want to say I heard that. Like the weapon didn't feel sticky, like it was absolutely missing its stickiness due to aim assist not being present on the weapon. Somebody let me know though. Ace of Spades. Memento Mori's damage bonus is now affected by range fall off. Alrighty then. Ace of Spades is on its way out, while Crimson and Sunshot is on its way in. Okay. Lumina. Nova rounds should apply their buff to allies more reliably now. I wonder if that just helps with the tracking. Probably has like a wider radius in which the Nova rounds will attract to allies to give them the buff. And of course, you a buff. Colony. Serve the colony now functions as auto-loading holster does. Okay. Colony meta incoming. Perks! Oh, thank God. Subsistence. Reduce the impact of this perk on total reserves. You're telling me all of those weapons that I have with subsistence, where it's garbage, I can now bring them out of my vault? Oh, boys. I can't tell you how prepared I am for this next season. Ricochet rounds. Remove the hidden bonus to damage fall off. Wow, okay, so Ricochet rounds might not be the perk anymore, guys. It actually gave an extension there to range. It was always known as like the best PvP magazine perk due to that increase in range. We'll just have to check it out and see what it looks like once this change goes live. Moving on to Swashbuckler. Perk now activates when getting a kill with Ball Lightning. Didn't even know it didn't activate from that. Ball Lightning, guys, is essentially that Warlock melee on Middle Tree Stormcaller where you can like send this arc projectile and it releases like this perpendicular blast of lightning. Not a major damage dealer, but it's nice to hit guys behind cover with it. By God, if you happen to land the kill, give the man Swashbuckler ×5. Grave Robber. Perk now activates when getting a kill with ranged melees. For example, Ball Lightning and Explosive Knife. That's good. 1-2 Punch. Reduce the effectiveness of stacking 1-2 Punch and Cross Counter, aka Liar's Handshake. Players won't be able to defeat Riven in less than 3 seconds after Shadowkeep launches using the combo of 1-2 Punch and Liar's Handshake. But we know many of you will try other builds and potentially even succeed. Alrighty, we knew this day was coming, guys, for 1-2 Punch and Liar's Handshake. It just wasn't natural for the melee power of a hunter to surpass that of a Titan, but damn was it fun. Now Bungie says we still have a few TWABs before release of Shadowkeep, which will shore up our patch note previews on a variety of topics, ranging from Black Armory access to bug fixes. Stay tuned. Alright, before we move on, guys, those are our big updates to our weapons. I was hoping to see some more direct love to auto rifles inside of PvP, scout rifles also inside of PvP, but pretty much that covered it. About the only thing they left off, if they're actually going to make changes, is exotic armor pieces. Like, are we going to see any buffs hitting some of our exotics that have pretty much taken back seat? I wouldn't bank on it because I feel like they would have included that in today's TWAB, but still, great changes across the board here. Now, one more thing here, we've got Reckoning. Bungie states that Destiny 2 Update 2.5.22 recently brought some frequently requested quality of life changes to Reckoning and rewards. Next week, we'll be making one additional change to the experience, further bridging the gap between you and your desired weapons. Starting on September 17th, all negative modifiers will be removed from Reckoning. This activity will continue to feature weekly single with a daily rotation of Brawler, Grenadier, and Heavyweight. Our goal in this change is to improve the replayability of Reckoning, so players will feel more inclined to hop in to matchmaking for some sweet loot. This should also help to address some feedback items from players that specific modifiers could feel too punishing. We're looking at you, Blackout. If you're looking to get your hands on some weapons from Season of the Drifter that have eluded you, I reckon this is your time to shine. Okay, guys, that's pretty much it. By the way, a huge shout out to Destiny for 5 years. It's crazy how time flies. We've got 2 TWABs between now and Shadowkeep, fellas, and it's looking juicier by the day. Overall, these are some major changes that are coming. The meta may shift in a way that you like, maybe in a way that you don't like. Me personally, I like to kind of get in there and sink my teeth in it first before making a decision on how much I like the new sandbox. But from what I'm reading, I'm looking forward to these changes. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.